Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with all the resources you need to become a successful author. You can learn more about Authors Unite and join the free community at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today I have Ifebi, and she is the founder and CEO of Vendor Space. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for joining us. We'll dive in. The first question I have for you today is, what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
I would say the best story is definitely the event that led me to even starting Vendor Space. And it was just the tragedy and planning this terrible festival. We spent so much time, so much money, invested so much into it for it to fail. But at the end of the day, it was looking at what the bigger picture was. And rather than thinking of the bigger picture as this beautiful festival, it was like, wow, it led me to creating this wonderful company that I have today.
And what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
Definitely leveraging your network. And it probably applies to any and all industries, but in the event industry, it's really important and really useful when you have a lot of partnerships. You'd be surprised how far and how many doors can open for you.
And what's your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific.
Right. Definitely just go with the flow. So many things happen in business. So just being flexible and understanding, but just always continuing to go forward.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
To relax and just know that everything's going to be okay. Definitely, that's just big.
And in your opinion, what's the key to happiness?
I think the key to happiness is balance. I think it's when you find that medium of being able to balance all things that are happening in your life, then I think you can truly achieve what happiness is.
And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
One of my favorite books, I have a lot of favorite books, but one of them that comes to mind now is probably The Alchemist. I know it's just an old classic, but definitely just the idea focusing on your journey and what that can do and what it can manifest for you in your life.
And what is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is spread knowledge as much as you seek it. And that's simply because learning is so fundamental no matter what age you are. So the more that we learn, I think it's truly beneficial and extremely important for us to pass it back down.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much for coming on. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where's the best place for people to find you online?
Yeah, sure. So you guys can find me online at vendorspace.co or Vendor Space News across all social media platforms, and on LinkedIn as well. My name is spelled Ifebi.
Perfect. Thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a great
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.